Hi guys, good morning everyone. To start with, please, if you can hear me, please let me know. If you can confirm if you can hear me. If you want to say a comment, if you can hear me. All right, all right, all right. Thank you very much. I can see our comments, I can see our chat. Thank you, everyone. All right, so I'm welcoming everyone to this soft skills training for today. I mean, I know that previous session has really been awesome. We really learned a lot. We have, we have gained a lot of insights from previous session. And today one promises to be insightful and be interesting, just as previous session has been. Please, can you hear me? Okay. So I would want to, just to make this much more exciting and informative. And I would want to, engage with us right now. So I would want us to get feedback on previous session. I would want to know countries where we are chatting from. I mean, sorry, where we are, where we are joining us from. Let us know the country you're joining us from and give us feedback on how your previous session has really been. So I can see comments from a lot of people right now. I can see Rebecca from Nigeria. Okay. All right, all right. So I would also want to get feedback. Like, you can just drop comments to let us know how previous session has really been, like what you have learned so far, and what you also look forward to getting from this particular session for today. So I would want that comment to show. I would want us to also drop that that insight as well. So I can see Messi from Nairobi. Okay. So Chiamaka Okeke from Kenya, that's awesome. That's awesome. Nigeria learning has really been superb. All right. I love the session, revamping my CV. That's awesome. Okay. From Talabi Taiwo, I want to learn how to learn. I want to learn how to ace an interview. That's great. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm reading, I'm reading our comments. I can see Adnan Mash saying, oh, last week's session was very, very insightful. I learned not to put AI pictures and pictures on all your CV. I mean, that's great. I mean, to know that we've really, you've gained a lot of things from the previous session. Okay, so I have Toyiba from Nigeria. She's saying the session has really, really been educating and wonderful. That's awesome. Great feedback. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I have Afsa, good morning, good morning. Lista from the United Kingdom. That's awesome. We are so happy to have you on board. So to start with now, I'm going to be sharing the the assessment form with us. So that means, sorry, there's not going to be assessment for today, but I'm going to be sharing the attendance with us. So once I share the attendance with us now, you can have access to it. And if you have any issues, around getting your way with the attendance form, please try to use another browser like I used to say before, so you can have access to it. All right, so let me just get the attendance form for us and the assessment, the attendance form for us right now, so we can fill it. So once I share the attendance with us now, so I'm sharing the attendance form with us right now. Please, if you can't, you can see it, let me know. Okay, thank you. So I would want us to, as much as we are filling the attendance, please, I would want us to still, I mean, we want to get feedback from us from the session that we've learned previous time. So I still want to say our feedback, and I want to know the countries where we are, we are joining us from, right? So, and if you feel the, the attendance, please, you can comment done so we can, go ahead with the session. Okay, so just to read more comments. So I have Chidi Ogo. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Chidi Ogo, she's saying, I'm joining from Ogun State. The previous session has really been eye-opening. I really love the session on leadership. last week's session, and last week's session taught me not to put details on my CV. All right, that's awesome. Great news. Great feedback. Okay, I can see our feedback that we have done. A couple of people have done already. Let me drop the link again with us. Okay. All right. So please let me share it with us again. Okay, so I still want to get our feedback. I want to know where we are joining us from, please. So I can see Chiamaka Nichebe from Warri, Nigeria. I love the session on teamwork. It was really helping me in my place of work, and also the session on leadership. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so please still drop your feedback. Let us know how you really felt about the previous session. Let us get our feedback. Let us get our feedback. And like I said, if you have any issues with the session, the attendance, please try using another browser for you to be able to attempt it. Please and please. Thank you very much. All right, so I have Bathsheba Zakaria. She's saying Bathsheba from Nigeria. I really enjoyed the self-assessment session, and they have been great so far. Thank you. Meg Musini saying good afternoon from Nairobi, Kenya. I've been enjoying these classes very much, and I'm learning a lot. I still can't believe it is free. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Please let me know when you're done filling the attendance. Okay. All right, so we have our facilitator on the call, and she's ready for us. And I believe you still, we're going to be getting a lot from this session. We're really going to be getting a lot from this session. It's really going to be insightful. It's really going to be informative and educative enough for us. We're really going to learn a lot from this. So we have our facilitator on this session, and I'm really on this call, and she's ready for us. But before I go ahead, I would want to read our profile for us right now so we can get to know our facilitator and get used to her. Okay, so our facilitator for today is Atinuke Onifade. She is a dedicated and result-driven human resource professional with dynamic experience spanning the banking industry and FMCG sector, adept at creating and implementing extra strategies that drive organizational growth and employee engagement. She's passionate about creating strategies that foster employee development and drive organizational success. With a strong track record of successfully navigating two distinct industries, I bring a versatile perspective and a commitment to delivering results. All right, so while she's joining us right now, please and please, I would want us to welcome our facilitator with enough emojis, with enough reactions. Let us see our emojis, let us see our reactions, while our facilitator will be able to join us on the call right now. So please and please drop your comments, drop your emojis, drop your reactions. Let me see them. Thank you. I can see them. All right. So Atinuke, can you hear me, please, just to confirm?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good morning. All right. Thank you very much, Atinuke.
Very much. Ayotomide, thank you so much. Permit me to share my screen and to share my video. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here, and I hope that we are all doing great this morning. Okay, so just give me a moment to quickly put on my slides.
All right.
So you can just let me know once you see my screen. Thank you.
Okay, we can see your slide, Atinuke.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so good morning once again. My name is Atinuke Onifade, as the moderator has rightly said. And what we are here to discuss today basically is acing your technical and non-technical assessments. And I'm pretty sure that the last week's session you guys discussed about CV workshop, right? So let's just see this as a continuation of what we already know, right? So when you hear acing your technical and non-technical assessments, what comes to your mind? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Well, for me, the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, how can I pass this interview? Right? How can I do well in this interview? How can I do well? How can I, excel? So this is just basically, what this is talking about, right? Um, Moving on, we have, things that are very, very important, right? Things that we need to know whenever we're looking at doing any interviews at all, right? So the question now is, why is technical and non-technical assessment important, right? Imagine yourself in an organization where they tell you, oh, you don't need to do any assessment, you don't need to do anything, just come in. I mean, if you even if you think about it, you should know that there's a problem, right? If they just tell you that, okay, we don't want you to do any interview, no interview at all, just walking into the organization and you're part of us. I'm sure that, somewhere in your mind, you'll be like, I don't understand what's going on. Are you sure I've not entered one chance like this? Right. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say in essence is it is pretty important, and we cannot even overemphasize how important it is to always, have a feel of going through interview stages, going through, technical assessments, going through things like that, just to build our competency skills. Let me just put it that way. Right. So I'm talking about technical and non-technical assessment. What are we really talking about exactly? So we're talking about the kind of knowledge that we put up that allows us to showcase who we are to our prospective employers, right? So this is just going to show basically what we are able to do on the job, how we are able to perform. And some people would also tell you that, great performance during interview does not really guarantee that the person will do a great job. Well, I kind of agree with that as well, right? But at the same time, interviews would just allow, companies or prospective employers gauge your. Sorry, please. Ayatomide, can you hear me, please?
Yes,
Just
I
to
can hear
confirm.
you.
All right, thank you very much. I just wanted to be sure. Right. So back to what I was saying. Apologies about that. I just needed to confirm if I was audible enough. So this is just to, basically test our skills, our knowledge, our competency assessments, what we are able to do, before we even get in on the job. And, of course, you would learn on the job, but there's some things that need to be assessed on before you even go into the organization, right? And for some people, right, they see interviews as being, intimidating, right? And for some people, they don't really see it as being intimidating, while some people see it as being intimidating. And when I say intimidating, I mean, feeling like, oh, am I going to get this thing right? How do I go about it? Are you sure I'm taking the right step? Are you sure I'm saying the right things to, the prospective employers? Are you sure, there are so many questions that would keep popping up in your head because you're not sure of what to say, and because you can't read their minds, you won't know, what to say at the right time. But, you know, uh, you don't have to stress any further. We'll be discussing all the steps, all the guidelines that you need to, go through whenever you have, technical or non-technical assessment, which is also known as maybe behavioral competency assessment, right? So moving on, so this is basically speaking to, how you can prepare for a technical assessment. So how can you prepare for a technical assessment? So for somebody now who is into maybe data analytics, product design, cyber security, information security, things like that. How can you just prepare for, a technical assessment basically, right? So I think the first thing I would say is you need to understand the basics, right? Before you can go for any technical assessment that would require you to, talk about some things that I feel like it's best that you understand the basics. Like you need to know the rudiment of that job you're applying for. You need to know the fundamentals. You need to know the exact thing that they you that they are going to request for, right? You need to understand the rudiments, like I've said earlier, right? So what I have here says that ensure a solid grasp of fundamental concepts related to the technical assessment. So for example, now you want to go for maybe a product designer role. Yes, the least you can even know how to do is understand your Figma, right? Know how Figma works alongside others. Know your maybe your 5 stages of design process, design thinking process. Just understand the basics. What are the basic things that they would ask you? What are the things that they would ask you in the long run, right? And while you're trying to build a solid grasp of your fundamental concept, you need to also build a strong foundation of tackling complex problems, right? So, while you've done that, you also need to, build on that foundation. You need to leverage skills. You need to build a strong foundation that would allow you to tackle, complex problems, even if they tell you to work on some things, they give you like a laptop, okay, you need to do this for us, like competency kind of thing. You already know what you want to do. You already have an idea of how you're going to do it, right? And even aside from understanding the basics, it is very, very, very important that you practice regularly. They say consistency is key. You need to practice regularly. If you're trying to, maybe get maybe an entry level role, or you're already in it, you're trying to go to the next level, maybe the intermediate level, they still say that consistency is key. You need to always practice regularly, engage in, consistent coding exercises for people who wants to code, like the software engineers, front end and back end. You need to always do consistency, coding exercises, participate in mock interviews to simulate real world scenarios, because what they are going to give to you will definitely be real world scenarios or real life scenarios, things that they can give you a problem at hand to solve, right? How do you want to demonstrate your competency skills in this manner? How do you want to show to them that I'm actually worthy of this thing that you're throwing at me? How do you want to show to them that okay, I can actually achieve this thing, I can actually do this thing? So how do you want to prove to them? So you need to always practice regularly, and also work on projects to apply theoretical knowledge, right? Work on projects to apply theoretical knowledge. So you need to work on real life projects, as we've said earlier. You need to always put yourself out there. Sorry, excuse me. You need to always put yourself out there. When they're talking about the big jobs, like the real big things, you need to always put yourself out there and always try to, volunteer as many as possible or as much as possible. Volunteer. So as you're doing this, you're not just volunteering, you're building your own skills, you're building your skill set, you're building so many things at the same time, right? So, and also I have utilized platforms like LeetCode and HackerRank for diverse problem solving, right? So we have so many platforms that can help you with that for maybe the technical assessment. We have so many platforms that can help you with that. So for example, now I have LeetCode here and HackerRank for diverse problem solving. So you can always leverage on this and try to check out the site, the website, for complex problems. You can always go there to search, to make your research and all of those things, right? So now moving on to the next slide. Please, if I'm too fast, you can always put it in the chat box. Let me know that I'm too fast so I can slow down. Yeah. Okay. So this is still like a continuation of preparing for a technical assessment, right? So here we have time management. Time management is key, right? Time management and personal effectiveness. You see those two things, they work hand in hand, and we cannot overemphasize how important it is. Time management is really, really important because you want to recognize time as a critical factor in assessment, right? For example, if you're being given 1 hour, right? They give you like an hour to do something. Make sure that you finish before that 1 hour. Make sure that you finish in 50 minutes, right? Or 52 minutes. Yeah. So time is a critical factor in assessment because you don't want to wait till maybe the platform logs you out before you submit. You don't want to wait till they tell you, oh, it's time to submit before you start running. Okay, let me try to submit, things like that. So time is a critical factor, and it's always very important that we put it into consideration whenever we are having, or whenever we are preparing for technical or non-technical assessments. I mean, it's very, very, very important, right? And it's also important that we practice problem solving under time constraints. I already mentioned this earlier, right? You're going for an interview or you're going for a competency skill based assessment, and they tell you that, okay, we're giving you 1 hour. And okay, maybe you're just expecting that, oh, it's after the 1 hour that I will submit. You can't submit after 1 hour because once you submit after 1 hour, they will see you as somebody who doesn't really take time seriously, and they will see you as somebody who is not effective, right? Let me use that word effective because I mean, when they give you an hour, expecting that you submit before your assessment. And another point I had yesterday is that break down problems into manageable steps. Break it down into chunks, right? Once you break them down into chunks, you can now start picking them one after the other. That okay, I've broken these things down. How do I start? Where do I start from? That is how you can make headway when it comes to dealing with technical assessment. You need to break things down into chunks. So when you break them down into chunks, you can now start picking them one after the other to say, oh, where do I want to start from? What am I doing first? What do I need to do first? What am I doing first? All right. So after breaking down your task into chunks, then you can now allocate time wisely for each task. For example, now, if you're doing maybe, okay, I'm sorry, but I'm still going to make reference back to product designing, right? So for example, if you're being given a task now to maybe develop a mobile website or a mobile app, for example, right, you want to make sure that you start with the basic things. Or some people will tell you that, okay, I'm sure we must have heard about the 80%, 20% rule, right? That you do the 20%. So meaning that the 20% is the larger one, while the 80% is the smaller one, right? So if you're doing the when you're allocating your time for each task, I would strongly advise that you break your task down, right? And you start with the most complex, right? You start with the most complex because the most complex is going to take much of your time, right? And if you start with the most complex, you have higher chances of finishing on time. You have higher chances of finishing quickly because you already started with the, complex task. I don't know if that is okay enough for us. All right. So, I mentioned earlier that you need to keep practicing, you need to keep practicing, you need to keep practicing, right? So, this thing here says that review and learn from mistakes, right? That is the major reason why you need to always practice regularly. And there is this saying that goes that, competency and consistency works together, right? If you are not competent at something, but you keep learning, you're, oh my goodness. Okay, apologies about that. Okay, so if you're not competent about something, right, you're not so good in that thing, but you're really consistent at it, you have higher chances of being competent at it in the long run. I don't know if that is not confusing, right? So if you're not so competent at something, but you're trying to be consistent at it, meaning that you practice almost every time, right? You would later get to find out that okay, I think I'm gradually becoming good in this thing. I think I'm gradually becoming to like this stuff. I think I'm gradually getting this thing. And before you know it, you become a pro at it. So that is how people learn, right? You practice regularly, you practice regularly. All right. So one here says conduct thorough reviews after each practice session. And what this means is you can just have like a mentor, right? You can have a mentor that would tell you, oh, maybe after you're done with each practice session, you can always send your work to your mentor to tell your mentor, oh, please, this is what I've done so far. This is what I did today. This is what I've been working on. Do you want to help me go through it to let me know where and what I need to improve on? So I mean, it's actually very important as well that I have a mentor. That each after each practice session, you want to go back to your mentor to ask your mentor that, okay, that project I worked on, what do you think about it? Where do you think I need to improve? Really important, right? And another thing here says understand and analyze mistakes made during problem solving. So I would highly recommend that you have maybe like what do I call it now? You have like your problem solving dashboard, right? Yes, or a map. Let me just use that word, a map. So it's not too complex. So you can add like a problem solving map. So, whenever you work on a project and you're done on the project, you finish the project and you have some backlog, right? You have some backlogs and you have some things that, you need to go back and improve upon. You can always write them down to say that, okay, this is the mistake I made today. I'm going back to iterate on this mistake. I'm going back to, improve on this mistake, right? So another thing here says that learn from errors to enhance problem solving skills, right? And majority of technical assessment includes or has to do with problem solving skills. You need to have that skills. You need to hone it, because if you don't have a problem solving skills, I doubt if you'd be able to like break down any complex problems, right? So you need to imbibe that problem solving skills, creative thinking. How can we do this thing differently? I'm already seeing this thing this way, but how can I change it? How can I change the look and feel? How can I make things differently? How can I do things differently from the way they currently are? Right. So before we move on, I shared a link on the uh chat box. Yes, so that link is just for us to check or to test uh, what we are. I know a lot of people on this call would have done a personality test, right? But if you're trying to develop your skills, you're trying to know more about yourself, I would strongly agree that run a personality test time to time for you to know what you're capable of doing, for you to know what you're competent of doing. All right, so Ayo Tomide, I'm really sorry, but I dropped the test link on the chat box. I don't know if we still have access to it. I want people to quickly take that test, and maybe in the chat box they can just easily put it. I'm a fox and hedgehog, things like that. So we can just quickly make use of the chat box, please. So people can put it in the chat box what they are. I really need to know, what people are on this call.
All right, I'm sharing the link right now.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm just going to wait for Ayo Tomide to share the link with us, and we can quickly take that in 5 minutes so we can continue the session. So let's just quickly take this the test. So that test basically is for us to know we have two concepts, right? We have the foxes and the hedgehog, right? I know a whole lot of us must have heard about it, foxes and hedgehog, right? So let's quickly take that test for us to know where we belong, because it is important. Even during our day-to-day activities, it is important to know where we truly belong, right? So even at work, when dealing with friends, when dealing with people, you need to understand who you are. You need to know who you are, so you can, at least know how you would react to some things. So let's quickly take that test. So once we're done taking the test, then I would now start explaining on what the foxes and the hedgehog concept means and how it is related to us and how we can apply it into our daily lives. So maybe we want to quickly do that in the next 5 minutes. I don't want to take too much of our time. Ayotomi, did we have people that are done already?
Yeah, so I can take comments, people commenting their results, something they are Fox.
Okay.
Fox.
Oh,
So
nice.
majority are commenting Fox.
Fox. Okay. majority are commenting Fox. And you see, I think in the world now, basically, a whole lot of people are foxes, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people are foxes because we believe that we can do so many things at the same time, right? We can do so many things at the same time. We want to do so many things, and then we are left wondering that how come I'm not seeing results in what I'm doing? And that is because we believe that we are capable of doing 100 things at a time. So the major reason why I asked for people to take the test is because I want you to understand. So foxes, they believe they can do so many things at the same time. They believe that they can multitask, right? And in the real sense, like in the real sense, there's no uh such thing as multitasking at work. In the real sense, there's no such thing. Because if you say you want to multitask, you end up getting like a fluid result, right? In the long run, you end up getting fluid result because you are everywhere. You are everywhere. You are trying to get this done. You are trying to get that done. You want to get this done. In the long run, you might end up making mistakes. While Edgeog, on the other hand, Edgeog believes that, okay, I can only focus on one thing. And this one thing that I want to focus on, I'm going to get it done. Meanwhile, foxes are, they're always different. They are everywhere. They want to do so many things at the same time. I mean, but it's not a bad thing, actually. It's not a bad thing if you're a fox. If you're a fox, it means that, you are curious. Let me just use that word, right? If you're a fox, it means that you embrace curiosity. You want to know so many things at the same time. So it's actually not a bad thing. So it's not a bad thing to be a fox, and it's not a bad thing to be an hedgehog, right? It's just to find a balance between the two, right? It's to find a balance between the two. And for foxes on this want to get optimal results, right, on something, I would strongly advise and recommend that you focus on that thing until you get it done, until you make sure that, okay, I've gotten to the end of this project. I can now focus on something else. So, I mean, it's always important that you put your mind to that one thing until you make headway in that one thing before you now say, oh, I think, okay, this is better. I think I want to, go to something else. I think I want to divert my attention. Ayatomide, do we have anybody that is an hedgehog, or we are all foxes? Because I'm also a fox. So that's why I said, I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Okay, so
Do
yes,
we
we have
have anyone?
Edogs as well, but more
They're
reason than
just
looking
few.
at Fox.
Yeah, I know,
But we
I
have a
know,
lot
I
of
know, right?
Fox.
Yeah, we have a lot of foxes. All right. So I mean, it's not a big deal, but uh as I've said earlier, I mean, it's always best for us to stick to one thing to make sure that, okay, we've gotten like an optimal result before we go to the other thing, right? So I I hope that is clear to us. I hope that is really clear. Okay, so moving on. So during your technical assessment, whether it is technical or non-technical assessment, the first thing you want to do is you want to make research about the company, right? Before you go into any organization or before you accept any interview invite, before you accept any at all. I mean, it is always very important and necessary that you make, research about that company that you're going to, that company that wants to interview you. I mean, it is highly important that you make research, understand the company, right? So, so before you even accept to join their interview, you want to go and make your own research, know a lot of things about the organization, understand their culture, understand their values, know what they do, right? If you're not even able to scratch into the depth of it, you are able to even know what they do on the surface, right? Because a whole lot of people, I won't lie to you, a whole lot of people on maybe an interview panel session, they would ask you, so what do you know about this organization? What do you know? What can you say about this organization? What research have you made so far about this organization? What can you do? Right? And of course, you need to also tailor your responses to showcase alignment with the organizational goals, right? If you want to maybe for example now you know that this company, what they do there is strictly what do I call it now? Cyber security, for example. I mean, I'm just citing an example. So you want to make sure that whatever message you have to them or whatever thing you want to say to them aligns with their goal, right? Or you don't want to see something that's not in alignment with what they do. So you want to make sure that you're tailoring your responses to showcase that okay, I think I've made enough research about this organization. I know what they do. I can speak to it. I can say a little things about what they do, even though it's not going to be like the in-depth of it. You already have an idea that okay, this is what these people do, this is what they do, this is what they do. All right. So another thing here says that soft skills matter. Yes. So in as much as um we are after the competency skills, what we can do, well, once we get on the job, what can we do, how can we react, how can we perform on the job, right? It is highly also important that you highlight soft skills such as communication, teamwork, problem solving, because in the long run you would realize that you cannot only rely on your competency. In the long run you will need all these things: how to communicate at work, how to act in a team, right? There's something called 7 habits of highly effective people. You cannot do it alone, right? You need to embrace teamwork. How can you work in a team? Because there's also a saying that says that a 200 whole is greater than the sum of its parts, right? And what this means basically is, for example, now if you take out 50 out of 200, you have 150 left. And in the real sense, 200 is actually better than a 150, right? So that's why they said that a 200 is better than a whole part of its sum, right? So it's better that we understand the teamwork concept and how we can work in a team, and how we can, how we can leverage our skills to, bring results, optimize results in a team, and also problem solving. I already mentioned this earlier. There's no organization that you go to today that they would not ask you about your problem solving skills, right? How creative are you when there is a problem? How eager are you to solve the problem, right? I know there are some kind of problems that will require you to think, but how can you come together to say, okay, this problem, this problem we're tackling it. How can you, showcase your skills, your behavioral skills? How can you showcase them and sell yourself to the company? All right. So because in the long run, what you're doing is you're basically selling yourself out. That is what you're doing. You're selling yourself to the organization. You want them to see that, okay, you are valuable, right? You are worth everything they want to spend their money on. You are valuable and you are worth it. That is what you're trying to showcase to them. All right. And also provide specific examples from past experiences demonstrating these skills. So what this is saying in essence is, whenever you are in an interview, I highly recommend that you make references to the past experiences that you've had, right? If you're part of a project that requires you to, go out of your way to make user research, to make market research, to do so many things, I would advise that you talk about it during your interview. You want them to know that, you see, I've done these things in the past, right? I've done these things in the past and I'm still willing to do it again. I'm willing to do more. So you want them to know that, okay, you are able to, come together, work together in a team to tackle, certain problems. And even if they want you to do it alone, you are able to do these things alone. So what you're doing in that light is you're selling yourself to the company. You're making them know that, you know what, I am capable of doing this, right? I am capable. If you give me, or if you spend that money on me, I will show you that I am worth it, basically, right? So um I'm moving on. So this is preparing for behavioral questions, right? So you need to anticipate behavioral questions based on past experiences. I already said this earlier. You need to anticipate, for behavioral questions. You need to make references to what you've done so far, right, in the past, what you've worked on, how you worked on them, how you achieved the results. You want to leverage your skill on these things and talk about everything. And also we have use the STAR method to structure responses, right? I know a whole lot of us know about STAR, right? And if we are not using it well enough, I think it's high time that we go back to using the STAR method to, approach some specific questions, right? So STAR is basically situation, task, action, result. So if you want to use STAR in an interview process, let me use that word. So if you are trying to use STAR, you want to make sure that you highlight the situation, right? So the situation means that problem that you are trying to solve, right? That problem that you were trying to solve at that particular time, you want to highlight it. And also the task. So you want to talk about the project at large, right? The project that was given to you to handle. And the situation will now be the problems that were encountered, right, during the course of that project. And also, we have the action. So the action basically is speaking to, okay, so after identifying the problem, what did you do differently to tackle how did you do differently to tackle the problem, right? So this is going to be basically the actions that you took, during that project, the things that you did differently, to overcome that challenges, right? So you want to make sure that you emphasize so well on the action. Make sure that you emphasize on it and you're able to, navigate your way through. You're able to tell them that, oh, this is the action I took, or this was the action I took back then that gave me results. And of course, it is your results. You need to brag about it. Okay, so after after they gave me the project, the problem, the actions I took, then you can now possibly tell them that this is the result I got from, the project. This is what, I was able to achieve at the end of the project. This is what, this is how it turned out. Things like that. And you want to make sure that you're not outrightly saying what you did not do, right? Because once you get on the job, there'll be questions. There'll be questions. But you told us you could do this on the call. You told us you could do this in the interview. So, just make sure that whatever you're saying, whatever responses you're giving is tailored, to what you've done so far in the past, right? And of course, you have to stay authentic. You have to stay very, very authentic, be genuine and be authentic in responses, right? I understand that, situations might warrant you to start saying, oh, I've did this, I done that, I did this, but in the long run, we both know that you did not do it, right? But I mean, it's just part of marketing strategy, and I understand, right? But in as much as we want to do marketing strategy, we want to do this, but please, please, and please, let's be genuine and be authentic in our responses. Let's tell them what we are able to do. So when the test comes, and of course, with so many practices and consistency, we are able to, sail through that task, right? So another thing here says that connect with interviewers by showcasing your true self. So you want to let them know that, okay, I'm capable of these things. This is what I'm able to do. And of course, you cannot be fidgeting, right, on the call. You don't want them to know that you're timid, right? So you need to, okay, so I know for some people, they don't like interacting with people. So for some people, they're always shy and scared whenever they see other people on the call. And I can say for a fact that when I even started my career too as well, I remember doing a couple of interviews and I was, I was always shy. Not, I won't say shy, but I was just timid, right? I was timid that, these people, are they going to beat me? Like I was always timid on the call. I wouldn't express myself the way I should. But when I was progressing, I understood better and I understand that, okay, I think what you need to do is to market yourself actually when you're on the call. So you want to be genuine as possible, be authentic in your responses and sorry, excuse me, and be unapologetic about it. So you need to be genuine, be authentic, showcase yourself, let them know that, you are worth whatever they are inviting you for. All right, so moving on. All right, so here I have a list of beneficiary learning tracks, right? That you can always go back to check out if you have your free time. Okay, so here we have the software development, front end and back end. We have the product design, UI, UX. We have the data science and engineering. We have the product management. We have the 3D modeling and mixed reality. We have mobile application development. We have blockchain, and we have cyber security. Right. So we also have some links here that you can always click on to practice. Right. You can okay, so I can also share. Maybe I can share. So we have some links here that you can click on to practice test. First one is to practice your, aptitude test, your knowledge base. Then the other one, you can use that one to practice for your product design courses. Sorry, excuse me. And the third one, you can use that to practice for your data scientist test. I'm sorry, I can't get all the links right here on this slide. So yes, so basically, I think that is just it. And of course, during the course of the interview, you want to ask the interviewer question. Don't be shy and be unapologetic about it. You need to ask them questions. And when I say questions, you want to really ask them about, the organization, what they do, where the organization is currently, how you can help, how you can come in, what you need to do differently, things like that. So you need to understand that, okay, this is an organization that is trying to like poach me. So I need to understand their current reality. Where are they now? Or what are they doing differently? Or if I join this company now, what can I do differently to, change things, to turn things around? What can I do to contribute to the success, of the overall organizational goals? What can I do differently? So you need to ask, the interviewer questions. You need to ask them questions about things. You need to ask them about, different questions about your job functions, your job role, your job descriptions, right? So I think that being said, and of course, this is just like a reminder, it's a general reminder that technical skills are very crucial, but communication, collaboration, and adaptability are equally significant, right? So technical skills are very, very crucial, but also you need to understand the concept of, behavioral skills. You need to understand that concept of communication. You want to understand that concept of collaboration and adaptability. Don't start showing the signs of, oh, I can do it alone. I don't need anybody to help me. I don't need anybody to assist me. All right. So it's important that you show that communication skills, collaboration, and adaptability. And also, so you want to strive for a harmonious blend of technical expertise and soft skills for a comprehensive assessment. So you need to understand that a blend of both is going to help you in the long run. A blend of technical expertise and soft skills would help you do a fantastic job. Because if you are maybe like a DevOps engineer, for example, and you don't have that communication skills, you don't have the collaboration skills, you don't have adaptability skills, that means you're going to have a problem with literally everybody on the team because you're not able to communicate what you think properly. You're not able to collaborate with other people. You are not able to adapt to swift changes. So that means there's going to be an issue in the long run. So I mean, this is a general reminder that um you cannot do the technical part alone. You can't do the technical aspect alone. And meanwhile, you can't do the non-technical aspect alone as well. You need a blend of both expertise and soft skills. I mean, to thrive on the job and to thrive during the interview. This looks like a very short session, but I mean, thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions, comments, feedback? Before we call it a day.
All right. Thank you very much, Atinuke. That was really great. That was an insightful session. I mean, the topic you spoke about is really, really great. How to, prepare for technical assessment, understanding the basic ensuring to have a solid, grasp of the fundamental things that you want to really venture into, practicing regularly as well, to, engaging in, coding exercises, working on projects, to have like a broader understanding of what you really want to go into. So those are important topics and things that really need to note. Time management as well, breaking down problems into manageable steps so you can be able to achieve the things that you set for yourself. And recognizing that time is really a critical factor for assessment, and allocating time wisely to complete each task that you set for yourself. So that's really, really great. Time management, reviewing and learning from mistakes that you've made from all the projects that you have done, and researching about the company that you want to really go into. I mean, it's important to research about the company so you can really know what I want to put myself into, like kind of organizations I want to work with and all of that, understanding the company culture, the values and what they do, and as well, soft skills is also important, balancing everything to know that, as much as I'm going for my technical skills, I also need to know that, soft skills is also important for me to be able to, leverage and be able to, succeed on the job that I'm working on, right? I mean, that's really, really great. That was an insightful session. Thank you very much for that. So I would be opening the chat box for our fellows right now. Please, if you really learned a lot from this session, please, I would want to see our comments. I would want to see our reactions. Please let me know what you've learned so far before we open room for questions. Okay, so I can see a lot of comments right now. So it's saying this is an amazing session. Awesome. Thank you very much, Ma. Okay, that's awesome. All right, so now we'll be giving room for questions, but if you have any questions, please use the Q&A use the Q&A box so we can see your questions. And I know we all have a lot of questions I want to ask, but just use the Q&A section so we'll be able to read them out for you. Okay. Okay. So first question for you, Atinuke. I believe you can hear me very well, Atinuke, just to confirm.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I have this question from Ellen. So she's asking, please, can you give a practical example of using the STAR approach?
All right, thank you very much, Ellie. So to answer your question, so using the STAR approach, you can actually use the STAR approach anywhere, right? Even aside from using it in an interview, you can use it you can use it on your day-to-day lifestyle. You can use it at work if you're currently working. You can use it at work to solve problems, right? So basically, the STAR approach is you understanding the situation, right, and understanding the task involved, then the actions taken, then the result. Then I'm going to explain this one after the other. So what this is saying basically is the situation, right? So now the situation is the problem. The situation now that you're being given is the problem. So you need to understand the situation. How did this thing happen, right? So now, after understanding the situation, you want to make sure that you understand the task, right? So the task being involved now is whatever project they give to you to work on. So that is going to be your task, right? And of course, task is supposed to come in before the problem, right? But in the real sense, you need to understand the problem first, then understand the task that was being given to you to solve, right? Once you now understand the task, you already know the in and out, you've studied it, you know the approach you're going to use. So now you now want to understand that, okay, now that I understand the problem, I know the genesis of the problem, I know the fundamentals, I know the rudiment of this problem. Okay, what can I do to tackle this problem? So what you will now want to do now is to bring up different solutions, right? So that solution now is going to be the actions that you've taken, right, to tackle the problems. I don't know if this is clear enough. So so now that you already understand the situation, you understand the task. So the action you're going to take now is the solutions, what you've gathered so far, solutions you've been trying to, get on board. Okay, for example, now in a typical work environment, you're given a task now that, oh, Ellie, you know what you're going to do for us? We want you to come up with a framework, right? We want you to come up with a strategy framework for maybe leave bonuses or leave allowances or something like that. And okay, you're just thinking that how do I want to go about this thing? I've never done this thing before. So that is where you need to use a star approach. That is when star approach will now come in. That is where you now have to analyze the situation at hand. Then now follow the steps one after the other to know how you're going to get your optimal result. Right. So you want to understand the situation, as I've rightly said before, understand the task, which is the project itself. Then what are the actions taken? What are you doing to solve this problem? So that is the action, right? Then the result is the last thing, which is the result that everybody's going to see in the long run, that okay, after so many hard work that we've put into this thing, this is the result that we bring to you. So I think that has answered that question. Ellen, do you want me to shed more light on it, or you understand it perfectly?
Okay. I think that feedback, I mean, that response is really great. She must have really learned a lot from that. So just just go to the next person, next question I have on here. So I have a question from Doreen. So this one is more like just give an elaborate, just to things that we possibly say in case you want to go for an interview. So how do you think we can be able to answer, the question, tell us about yourself? So if I go to an interview and they ask, oh, tell us about yourself, what are the possible things you think I'm meant to say and the things I'm not meant to talk about when I'm talking about myself in an interview? So this question is from Doreen.
Okay. Doreen, I mean, that is a very tricky question, but I mean, it's all good. So, if you're going for an interview, for example, and they tell you that, tell us about yourself. So, they are asking you to tell them about yourself, not because they want to hear stories, not because they want to hear, oh, okay, my name is Doreen. I like bright colors. I like wearing blue. I like wearing orange. You don't want to hear that, right? So just cut to the chase. Tell us about yourself. So if you're telling them about yourself, the first key thing that you want to highlight is your name. Quickly tell them your name, the school you attended, the course of degree you did, right? If you have any years of experience, quickly tell them about your years of experience. Okay, so for example, now my name is Atinuke Onifade. I attended Ojibwa University. Studied business administration. I finished with a second class upper degree. Things like that. Oh, okay. I have about 4 years working experience. I've worked in industry. I've worked in industry. I have this packed knowledge. Then you start talking about your skills, your skill set. Because some people will tell you, oh, I'm giving you 10 minutes. Some people will tell you, I'm giving you 15 minutes to tell you about yourself. So you want to make sure that make good use of the time. You make good use of the time. You want to tell them in detail, like what you've done so far in the past, right? So tell us about yourself. Tell them your name, your school, your course of your degree, the course you studied in school, then your work experience. So once you take in that sequential order, I'm sure that you're doing a great job and you're doing a great job on the job. So once you just tell them that, you are able to just hit the nail on the head. You are able to explain to them that this is what you're doing. This is what I'm currently doing, and this is what I've done so far in the past. So if they now want to ask you any further questions, that means you're giving them the room to ask you further questions on, oh, okay, so tell us about this company where you worked. Okay, how long did you work there? But when you're introducing yourself, you want to make sure that you touch base on your name, your degree, and your years of experience. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much for that feedback and that response, Atinike. Thank you very much. So I have another question from Blessing. She's asking, how do I develop a problem-solving skills? Are there specific things to do to become a problem solver? So more or less like, how do I possibly identify that, oh, this skill I'm really doing is really like to say that, oh, this is more channeled to a problem-solving skill. So how do I tend to develop it and how do I identify it to really recognize that, oh, I'm doing something that is pertaining to solving a problem.
Okay. So if I hear you correctly, Ayotomide, you're asking, or sorry, what's the person's name again? I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Sorry.
Like the person's name, the person that asked me
So
this question.
blessing.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so if I hear Blessing correctly, what Blessing is trying to ask is, how do you identify a problem? Or how do you identify a situation, right, that looks like a problem? And how do you solve the problem? I want to be sure that is correct before I give my response.
Okay, so to provide a context into it, like to make it
Yeah,
more clear enough. So this
yeah.
is what she's asking that, oh, how do I develop a problem solving skills? Right. So, and are there any possible things to identify that, oh, that this skills, I mean, this thing I want to, solve, are there possible skills that I should be able to identify that, or to say that, oh, these are the things I'm meant to put in place to be able to solve these skills that I've really identified, and how I tend to, develop it.
Okay. I think I understand what you're saying now. Okay, so for you to even become a problem solver, we need to embrace creative thinking, right? If you are not a creative thinker, I don't think you would be able to like solve more problems, because you need to be a creative thinker before you can say that you want to solve a problem. And in everyday performance, or as we do our day-to-day thing, you understand that, or you try to see in the long run that we all perceive challenges in one way or the other. There is no way, like, you would see challenge even at work, right? They would keep throwing you challenges that, you know what, go and solve this thing. And that's when you now need to own your skills. You need to own that problem solving skills, right? You need to own that problem solving skills, like thinking outside the box, right? So most people that solve problems, they think outside the box. You can't think within the box. You need to think outside. This thing that I'm currently looking at, look at it from the angle of, okay, how can I do this thing differently? This thing that I'm looking at right here, how can I do it differently? Is there another way to this thing? Because if you are curious, even outside being a creative thinker, you need to be curious to be a problem solver. You need to be curious about so many things. Curiosity is key. I mean, if you're not curious, you will not even wonder why a cup is being placed, why it is being placed. You need to be curious enough to know that the reason why we place a cup on the table is because of the balance, because it's going to like have a balance between the table and the cup. But if you're not curious enough, there's no point being curious. Well, what do I need to be curious for? I mean, there's no point. But if you are curious enough, curiosity is key. If you are curious enough and you now try to imbibe that creative thinking skills, trust me, there is no problem that will come your way that you'll not be able to provide a solution for, unless it is out of your jurisdiction, unless it is out of something that you can handle. And even if you cannot handle it, I can tell you for free that you'll be able to provide some specific, answers. If it's not going to be like a complete set of answers, you'll be able to like provide some specific answers to that problem. You won't be able to like solve everything end to end because it's not your jurisdiction, but you'll be able to like provide some insight into that problem, and you'll be able to tell them that, you see what, you see this thing, I think if we do it this way, we are able to like proffer solutions to it. So before you can even say you want to be a problem solver, you need to be very, very curious, right? Always try to be curious. You want to know why this thing is like this. You want to know why this is like this. And of course, you want to be a creative thinker. You want to be a creative thinker. You want to, when people tell you, oh, this is how we want to do it, you should be able to ask them, okay, why are we doing it this way? Just to provide context. Why are we doing this like this? Why do we want to do it like this? Why can't we do it the other way around? So this is you trying to think outside the box, and you're trying to provide so many solutions as possible. So I hope that has answered your question. Blessing.
All right, thank you very much, Atinuke. So I have an interesting question from one of our fellow. So this question is interesting because I think it's something that we might want to address too as well. So imagine going for an interview where they ask that um why should we hire you? So we want to like just get like a contest or a clear contest to say, oh, how was the best possible answer for that kind of question? When an organization asks that, oh, why should I hire you? What do you think I'm meant to say? Like, what do you think I should not, speak on? And what I'm meant to, speak about in terms of answering that question.
All right, I think I love this one. Okay, so when an interviewer asks you that, why should we hire you? Okay, so they are not asking you that question because they want you to go back to your work experience. They don't want to hear that, right? Because you've already told them about your work experiences, what you've done so far in the past, how you've worked on so many projects. So they already know. So you don't want to go back to start telling them that, okay, I was able to achieve this in XYZ company. So just go straight to the point when an interviewer asks you that, why do you want us to hire you? So you can say something like, if you hire me, right, I'm going to contribute my own quota, right, to the development of this organization. And meanwhile, remember that I said during the interview, you need to ask the interviewer questions about their current realities in that organization. You need to ask them that, where is this company currently? Where is this department? This department I'm going to, where are they currently? I mean, where are they? What is their current reality? So if they tell you that, you'd be able to, approach that question strategically. And when I say strategically, I'm saying that you don't just want to answer because of, oh, I'm going to contribute my own quota. Anybody can contribute quota, actually. Anybody can contribute their own skills. Anybody can contribute their own, knowledge and expertise to the development of the organization. But you want to answer differently, like saying, oh, I would be able to, contribute to the overall development of the organization by contributing XYZ, because you already understand, you already know their current realities, you already know where they are lagging behind, right? So those are the approaches that you would use to tackle that question, because you understand their current realities. And that is why I always tell people that it is important that you always ask questions. I mean, it is important you ask the interviewers questions during your interview. Don't just go for an interview and they ask you a couple of questions and you're not able to ask a single question. You want to ask them questions like, okay, what are your current realities in this organization? As a department, where are you currently? What are you currently doing? Right? If you want me to come on board, what do you need me to do? Even aside from my job description, how do you want me to come in? So when they tell you, when they provide this information, you are able to now tackle them with, okay, this is why I want you to hire me, because I believe that I would be able to provide solutions to these areas, right? So I hope that has answered your question as well. But I actually love the question.
All right, thank you very much for that, Atinuke. So I have another interesting question that I would want you to answer. So this question is actually from Victoria. So like you said that, when we want to go for an interview, we need to do, research about the organizations that we want to work with. So let's say, for example, I've done my research and, I can't possibly get like enough information about what the organization does. So this question is now saying that, how do you think I should be able to, get my research more accurate, to see that, oh, this organization I want to work with, they are being honest about their values, about their culture and everything they do, possibly on their social media platform. So how do you think, I mean, what's the best approach? What would you suggest, or what the best approach do you think we can, use in terms of, making our research to the organization we want to work with?
Okay. So the first thing I would say is making research can be a little bit tricky when it comes to different organizations, because some organizations would not really put what they do out there. I've seen a couple of organizations that you will search and search and search, and you will not know the particular thing that they do, right? So, and of course, the world is changing. So what I would suggest is, and a whole lot of people do it as well, what I would suggest is, you have an interview with a company, you've made your research, you've tried to do a couple of research on maybe Google to know what they do, to know, how best you can tackle some problems, right? And it's not forthcoming. What I would advise that you do is to go on LinkedIn, look for that particular organization, look for their recruiter, the recruiter of that organization. Make sure you try to get the recruiter, right? You can message the recruiter and ask the recruiter some certain questions. Oh, hello, my name is so and so. I have an interview with your organization. Could you please tell me more about this organization? Because I tried making some research and it's not forthcoming. I really don't know what you guys do, and I need to provide some answers to my own curiosity, so as to help me prepare, before the interview. So you can just do that. I mean, the world is changing. People would respond to you. People would definitely respond to you if you can get hold of the recruiter. And if you're not able to do that, so another option is, if you're not able to do that, you want to make sure that during the interview process, right, after you must have answered all the questions, you cannot just pop the question to the recruiter or to the interviewer that, oh, I'm sorry, but I would like to know what you guys do. I made a little bit of research and I can't really place, a hold of what you guys do in context. Could you please provide me some answers to these particular questions? And I'm sure that, the interviewer would be more than happy to do it. I'm sure they will be able to like provide you answers on what they do. From there you are able to understand that, okay, this is what they do exactly. So if you try the first step and it doesn't work, the second one should work, most definitely. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Atunuke. That's an awesome response. Thank you very much. So another question is from one of our fellow. So this question is, while you're presenting, you spoke about, being authentic and, being yourself, being original. So this question now is, she's saying, I know I have, she have lost certain opportunities because of, being herself, why she's trying to be original and authentic. And it has nothing to do with her skills or qualifications. So she's asking that, how do you think she can handle, rejections in terms of the opportunity that she has lost, why she's trying to, be herself, being original in terms of the kind of conversations or the kind of interview that she has been to. I don't know if you get the question very well.
Get what you're saying, but I'm trying to I'm trying to understand because if you tell me that you go for an interview or you attend an interview and you provided answers to all the questions and you were being deliberate, about your questions and you were being honest. I'm trying to see the odds. What are the odds? What are the chances?
Okay, so to make it more, I think the person asking this question have her hands up. So I think I will allow her to speak so she can, provide more context.
Yes, that's better. That's better.
So
thank you.
How would they have? I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly, but I think you can speak now. Hi, how would they have? Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So to put things in context, right? I have actually had to, go through some technical tests, non-technical tests. You will see it like of course the scores are there. You have conversations, and so when I say how do I handle such rejections, I mean, is it on them or on me? Because I go to an interview and I can do the job, right? And then because you ask me, am I a Christian? Am I a Muslim? And I tell you, you know what? I don't practice organized religion.
Sorry, please, I lost you for a second. Do you want to go over that again?
All right. So I say, right, I've attended an interview, I've passed the test. At least they are like, those ones are measurable. They have passed your technical skill test. With non-technical, it's quite objective, subjective rather. But now you attend an interview and you are being authentic, right? You don't want to lie about anything. And somebody is asking you, are you a Christian? Are you a Muslim? Or, religion? And you say something like, oh, I actually don't practice organized religion, right? You have the skill, you have everything, but then you don't get the job. And then sometimes it's from appearance. I know I'm always neatly dressed, but I don't wear makeup. I don't, and the job I'm doing, I'm sitting in the office. So why would you, deprive me of an opportunity or a job I can do simply because I don't fit into your standard of beauty? So those are just instances. There's the religion part, there's the, the beauty standard part, whatever.
I get your point.
So I feel like most workplaces are not inclusive. So I want to understand in being authentic, because you could ask me about religion, I could simply say, oh, I'm Christian. You're not going to ask me if on Sunday I went to church or not, or what did the pastor preach.
Yeah.
But then I want to be authentic such that if you are doing morning devotion and I tell you, you know what, I'm not interested or I can't be a part of it, it's not a problem because From the
Yeah.
initial stage, I already told you this is not, so how do you handle so, because I can't start adjusting. I can't go to your interview and wear a wig to impress you. I'm
Mm,
carrying my
okay.
I'm carrying locks neatly um packed, and everything. So I hope you understand the context I'm coming from.
Yeah, yeah. I think I get where you're coming from. I totally understand you. And you see that in this world that we are currently, you know, in this world that we are currently, uh, we have a whole lot of stereotype, right? And I mean, it's nobody's fault. You see some people telling you that, I've okay, so I'll put it this way that it happened to somebody that I know, like a very good friend of mine, right? The job that she was supposed to get before coming to where, I worked in the past, she had already passed the interview. And because the owner of the organization is a Christian and she's a Muslim, she's a devoted Muslim. And they told her outrightly that we are sorry because you're a Muslim and you're a practicing Muslim because she wears a hijab, like she covers her head in all of those things. And they told her that, you know what, we can't give you this job. Right. So I'm not going to see that as her fault. It's not her fault. And it's not your fault as well. It's not your fault that you're trying to be authentic. It's not your fault that you're trying to be who you are. Right. But I think one thing I would say is, courage matters. Right. And I know that you also mentioned that, during your interviews, you're always neatly dressed, you always appear good. That is fantastic. That is awesome. That is really, really fantastic. And if they cannot uh they cannot bend, right? Let me just put it that way. If they cannot bend because, oh, I feel like, oh, I don't want somebody that does not wear a wig or a makeup in my space, then that is their problem. I don't think you are guilty of that, because that is who you are, right? That is who you are. And I mean, you're trying to be authentic. I mean, it's better than, faking it to get the job. And when you get into the system, then you go back to your default settings and they start asking you questions that, what happened though? During your interview, you were looking up prim and proper. Then what's going on? Right. So that is going to be worse, because there'll be a lot of back and forth on the job. There'll be a lot of attitude. There'll be a lot of, So I mean, it's just good to be authentic. Like as I've rightly said before, it's good to be authentic. It's good to showcase, your genuine. Just be genuine, right? Whatever the stakes are or whatever the odds are, I mean, it's now over for the interviewers, for the owner of the organization to decide if they want to, pick the person. But I mean, I need to really understand, because I don't think no, not even I don't think they don't do this in large organizations. Organizations between maybe 2,000 to maybe 5,000 employees. I don't think so. So I think it's just maybe startups that do all of those things. But I mean, what are the odds anyway?
All right,
What I
so
would just
sorry to
advise.
cut
What?
you short, right? So not
Yeah.
necessarily startup, right? But I
Okay.
agree with you that they don't do this in big organizations. So now, very recently, I got an offer. It's a big name. It's a big name. I'm supposed to resume just January, and I remember being extremely anxious going into that interview. So you could tell that from the virtual interview, they wanted me to come on board, but they were like, you know what? Okay, come in for a physical chat. And then I got nervous again. Am I going to have to pretend? Do I have to dilute myself? Do I have to present in a particular way to get this job? Remember, it is a big name, like an actual big name. And then I made up my mind that, you know what? I am going to go as I am, because during the virtual interview, I had asked, please, what's your plan for inclusion? Like, how inclusive is your workplace? And then, of course, they mentioned what, I don't know, maybe what I wanted to hear, because they felt like, oh, they wanted to actually employ me. And then I got there my usual way, and guess what? I got the offer. Yes, it's a big space, a big name, and all that, but before now, this is just, okay, let me say, one testimony, or probably one of and all that. So if I didn't make it to this space, how would it have been dealing with rejections? Because I know my skill. I know when, oh, if I don't get this thing, it is because of this. I would go back and learn and improve my skill and do the work. So you know where you have even surpassed that job requirement and then you don't get it because you are being authentic. So yeah.
I'm really sorry. My network just yanked me off. Like, I had no idea.
All right, so we are so glad to have you back.
Yeah, thank you
Sorry.
very much. Apologies about that. My network just yanked me off. Yes, so I was listening to okay.
All right.
So you should done because I didn't hear the last thing. I didn't hear the last part. So
Okay. How
yeah.
would they please try to make it more brief?
All right. So can you hear me now? I don't know the last thing you heard, right? But I
Okay, I just
said,
heard that, you just asked them about the inclusion, what's the inclusion part of it? Are they, inclusive, things like that? And you went for the
yes,
interview. Yeah.
yes, exactly. And then it was not a very good experience knowing that,
Mm,
you have to, you want a job, you have to
yeah.
dilute yourself at some point and all that. If it's a situation where you know that you don't meet the require, I feel like as a candidate, if you don't meet
Mm,
the requirements, but at the point where you know that you surpass those requirements, but
yeah.
then you don't get it. If I don't find myself in such get such opportunity as a bigger space, so I have to deal with rejections upon rejections upon rejections because I can't
Yeah.
dilute myself. I'm being authentic, or I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's
I think
hard.
I
So I mean,
understand
for
you.
those of you that are already in the workforce, probably big names and maybe not big names, but I mean, maybe there's a lot for you, HR professionals, to ensure that those your spaces are inclusive, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was why I even asked that, maybe because some are startups and, maybe because in large organizations, you hardly hear about things like that. You hardly hear about it. But I mean, I'm so glad that you got the job eventually. And I mean, I'm still going to go back to it. Stay authentic, no matter what. Stay authentic. But I mean, the courage matters. How you carry yourself during the interview. Don't let them see you as being timid, right? Once they see that, oh, this person is shy, this person is timid, they will start thinking otherwise, that we don't think we should give this person the job because this person is not expressive enough. All right. So congratulations once again. Do we have any more questions, comments, feedback?
Okay, thank you very much, Atinuke. So there are a few more questions that we might want to answer. So I mean, I have like a particular question that I would want you to provide answers to. So this one is a question about how do we what are the like what's the reasonable response to give when an organization is asking you about remuneration? Like how much do you want us to pay you? I go out for an interview and they're asking that how much do you want us to pay you? So what do you think is like a reasonable answer to that kind of question? How do you think we can answer that question very well?
Okay. So I think how much do you want us to pay you? It's a generic question. Before I used to feel like, oh, why is this just it's always in Nigeria that they ask people, oh, how much do you want us to pay you? But in the long run, I got to realize that they do it almost everywhere. Like, you see, I'm actually part of HR too, so don't let me talk. So I mean, there's no way a recruiter will not ask you that how much do you want us to pay you. I mean, and I would strongly advise that you mention your amount to them. If you're currently earning maybe a 300,000 or 400. If you are maybe responding to that question, if you want to respond to it, I'm sure you don't want to tell them 500 because you're already earning 400, right? You want to make sure that maybe it's something double. And when they now want to talk about it, they're able to now tell you, oh, okay, so I don't think we can pay this so amount. Okay, can we pay this, right? So whatever you're telling them, you want to make sure it is doubled, if possible, tripled, because they're going to bring it down. And if they start bringing it down, they might now bring it to the point that you will not be able to say no. They will bring it to that, lowest point, right? I know how these people operate. So if you want to answer that question, make sure that you give them a doubled amount of what you currently earn, if possible. Just give them a doubled amount because they would tell you in the long run that, oh, okay, so is it negotiable? Okay, what if we're not able to provide you this amount? Can we provide this particular amount? Then if it's something that now works well for you, you can now tell them, okay, I think this works well, and you have the job. But always remember that it is not advisable to tell them maybe you currently earn like a 200, right? You now want to go to the next job. You're now giving them an increment of 100,000. They will price you down. And once they price you down, so if it appears that you also need a job urgently, you do not turn out as, okay, I don't have any choice than to accept it. But make sure you always build them higher. So once they bring it down, even if they want to bring it that lower cadre, you're able to match up with what they are bringing it down to. So I hope that has answered your question.
Right, thank you. So another question for you, Atinuke. So this question is so for example, I want to apply for an entry level role and I have no experience. Let's say for example, I want to I'm learning product management. So I have no experience in the product management field as an entry level person that I am. So how do you think I'm meant to like what am I meant to say or what am I meant to speak to, in as much as I know that I don't have experience in this particular, this role that I'm applying for. And also, if I'm working as an a customer service, a customer relation manager or something. So is the skill transferable to, the product management role?
Okay. Okay, so if I hear you correctly, this person right here is currently doing a customer service manager, if I'm correct, right? And the person wants to transition into product management. If I hear you well, Ayotomide.
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, I used to tell myself, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. In as much as you have the grit, you have the determination, you have you have that knowledge, and you are able to pursue whatever career goal you want to pursue. So trust me, it is 100% possible. And asking if the customer service skills is transferable to product management, of course, yes. So you know that when you're going into that product management space, you need to understand the nitty-gritty of communicating with internal and external stakeholders, right? So that is where you need to start understanding your stakeholders, how you have to communicate to them, how well you can collaborate with them, and because you won't just be talking to internal stakeholders alone, you're also talking to your external stakeholders. And you want to be sure that whatever you're doing, because of course, customer service is about value, right? It's all about value, the value you are able to render to people, right? So what value do you want to render to your external stakeholders? So that skill is actually very transferable because, I mean, in the long run, you start talking to external stakeholders, you want to make sure that you're delivering a great value to them. You want to make sure that you're giving them, that great, value for their money. And if you're asking that, okay, you want to go into that space as an entry level and you don't know anything. So if you're going for an interview, in that case, what should you do or what should you say? What I would strongly advise is make research. Google is our friend. You can always go to Google, make research about, oh, as a product manager entry level, what should I do? What should I prepare for? What are the possible questions that these people would ask me? how should I behave when I get there? Things like that. What are the simple questions that I need to know as an entry level officer, going into that product management space? I'm sure you're going to see, couple of things that you need to know before you even go for the interview at all. And what I would advise that you do is, make a lot of research about the company, as I've rightly said before. Before you even go for the interview, make sure that you know what the company does. Make sure that what they are really, really into, right? You want to make sure that, okay, you are aware of what they do. So when you go for the interview, you are able to incorporate what they do into your own specific goal that you're trying to bring into the organization. So that way, there's an alignment between what you're saying goal and the organizational goal. So I hope that has answered you.
Atunike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So last question that I would want you to provide answers to. So this question is around when an interviewer asks you that, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So what do you think is like a best a best response to that?
Okay, so I mean, a whole lot of people ask that question, and for me, I don't think it is ideal, right? Asking a candidate, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I don't think it is ideal, but I mean, the right response is, I see myself, growing that career path. I see myself climbing the ladder to the top, right? Because nobody wants to stay in the same place. Nobody wants to be stagnant. So I see myself climbing. I see myself growing in my career space. I see myself making some strategic decisions, in the long run, in the next 5 years. I see myself holding top positions and making the strategic calls and moves. So I mean, it's just that simple. Just that simple.
All right, thank you very much, Atinruke. So one last thing. While you were presenting your slides, we saw links. So I don't know if you will be able to share that link with us.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. So ladies in the house, I hope I was able to do justice to the session. I hope I didn't bore you. I hope following me all the way. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you so much. Okay, so okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
can you hear me very well, Atinruke?
I can hear you.
All right, so I mean, while you're trying to get the link for us, so I mean, I would want to ask like, oh, do you have maybe any last words for our fellows? What do you think we should take home that we need to keep on pressing on? That even though we are sleeping, instead going to still be ringing our head.
Okay. So while I'm trying to get the links up, so what I would just say is, so this is my mantra. This is my words that I say to myself every day. So nothing is impossible. That's first thing. And this is not even aspire to perspire. It's not aspire to perspire, but really nothing is impossible. And I want us to know that with proper determination, with grit, and you have the grit, you have the hunger for success. There's nothing impossible in this world. And of course, the last thing I would like to mention is that consistency is key. Wherever we find ourselves, let's be consistent, because that is the only determination to success. Doing it today and not doing it tomorrow is not going to guarantee any success at all. So consistency is key. So wherever we find ourselves, whatever we are practicing on, whatever career path we've chosen, let's stay glued to that career path, unless we now want to have a change. But in the meantime, when we are still in that career path, let's try to master it. Let's try to, hone that skills and, try to dominate that space. In as much as people tell you, oh, sometimes you get tired, sometimes some things can bore you, sometimes you don't want to do some things, but I understand. People, we are human beings, we are not robots, right? But at the same time, I want us to, invest in time, because It's only when we are consistent in doing something that we would see the outcome. Like when they say outcome, you see a proper outcome and you'll be happy yourself that, oh, so I can actually do this thing. Oh, so I did this thing. So I mean, let's just put in that work. Let's put in the hard work. So it's actually not about now. It's about the future. Let's put in the hard work. So if you put in the hard work now, you won't have to put in the hard work later on. All right. So I think that is enough for today. Enough of maybe my aspire to perspire. Because some people on this will be like, okay, what's all this about? Are you trying to bubble us? But actually, I'm not. I'm not. It's just the real fact. It's the real truth. Let's all put on that skills together to achieve success, right? It's either excellence or nothing. Somebody said to Maguire, so aspire to perspire to Maguire. All right, so let's put on that skills and let's try to be ourselves. Let's be authentic. If you go for any interview, don't try to bend rules because you want them to pick you, right? If they are going to pick you, they will pick you. So don't try to tell them things that you're not even capable of doing. Don't lie to them. And in the long run, when you get on the job, you start making mistakes. Then because they will remind you, that you told us during your interview session that you can see these things. All right. So thank you very much. I'm going to share the link now so we can all click on the links and we can also make our research later to know how to go about all these things. I hope I've been able to do a fantastic job. Thank you everybody that attended the session. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm just going to share the link now, then I'll take a bow out. Thank you.
All right, so thank you very much, Atinuke. So while you are trying to get the link for us, we would also want you to share your social media handles so we can be able to network with you, connect with you, and have further insights and further engagements on this this particular topic or this session generally. So I would want you to drop any of your social media handle that you feel comfortable sharing with us so we can be able to network with you and connect with you.
Right, I'll do that. Thank you very much, Ayatomide.
All right, thank you. So we'll be expecting the link and all right, so for our fellows, I know we've really learned a lot and I can see our comments, I can see everything we're dropping. So if you really learned a lot from this session, if you have, you've gained a lot, you saw that this session is really informative, you saw that this session was really, insightful, it has opened you up to so many things that you really need to know. Please, I would want us to, drop our comments. I would want us to drop emojis to really know how we really felt about this particular session today. So I would want to see our emojis. I would want to see our comments. I would want to see our reactions. Please let me know how, how the session has been for you. Please let me see. You can just give feedback generally like, oh, this session has been great. It's like, I really learned a lot. So let's just see our comments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So I can see our comments saying, I love every bit of the session. Awesome session, insightful. And I believe Atinuke can see this as well.
Yes, I can see and I'm happy. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you. So we're waiting for the link. So
yes, so I think I have a difficulty sharing this link. I don't know why, but I'm trying to see what the possible cause is. I'm trying to click on the link and paste, but it's not coming up.
Okay, so I think if you're able to share the slide, we'll be able to get the link as well.
I'm just going to do that. Let me just share the slide. I'll just share the slide there.
All right, thank you.
I can share the slides with you, right?
Yes, you can.
So you can share with them.
Yes, you can share with me. So I'm going to share with them.
All right, that's fine. So I can just put my LinkedIn handle here. So we can connect and thank you very much.
Atinuke, just to confirm, have you shared it? Because I can't see it.
Okay, so I'm sharing it now. I was hoping I could just click on the link on my LinkedIn then paste. But
okay.
now. So just type in Atinuke Onifadi on LinkedIn. You'll see me right there. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to share the slides with you so you can share with them. Thank you very much. Somebody said, on my way to win at that interview. Please win, win, win. We'll be waiting to hear the feedback. Thank you very much. Good luck.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Atinuke.
Yes. So I can take a bow out now. I will share the slides with you so you can share with them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right. I believe we all learned a lot from this session, and it was really insightful. And I can see our feedback. I can see every of our comments really say that, oh, this session was really great. It was really, informative. It was engaging. I learned a lot from this. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I'll be sharing the link. I mean, our LinkedIn name with us, so we can just search for our name on LinkedIn. Our name is Atinuke Onifade. So once you search for our name on LinkedIn, you'll be able to connect with her, and I'm very, very sure she'll be, willing to accept our connection request. All right. So while we are, we want to, leave the call, leave the session to, get on with the business of the day. I would want to, encourage every one of us to, speak about the session on your social media handles. Just post about the session. Once you post about the session, tag Tech for Dev and let people know that, oh, I mean, I attended a session that was really insightful. How best what you've learned from the session. Just post about it. Let people know that, oh, I attended a session today and I really learned a lot. Give your feedback, give your insights, give your, the information that you've gotten so far. Let people know that, oh, you really, you attended a session that, that gave you value, that was really valuable, and that gave you so much insight and so much knowledge to draw from. So I'll be very happy to see our post on LinkedIn, and this also, like I said, in as much as you are posting on your LinkedIn pages, please tag Tech for Dev, and we'll be willing to engage as well. All right, so on this note, we want to say goodbye to everyone, and we can allow us go home with the business of today and have a wonderful weekend. So and also I'll be imploring everyone to look forward to next week. It's going to be another promising session. It's really going to be engaging. We're really going to be learning a lot from next week as well. So on this note, I'm saying goodbye to everyone. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your day. Thank you.